over the years, one of the reasons why we keep on having land fraudulent issues happening in Lagos, Nigeria, is the fact that people do not understand how the land that's documentation process work here in Nigeria, especially in Lagos, Nigeria. Basically, we've met clients that want to buy property, but they want to buy property, and then they are very, very scared. Like they have this fear that it is completely fake and they are just trying to scam them of their money. But after explaining to them how the land title works, after explaining to them step by step of all what they have to do afterwards, they now have this kind of very strong trust. And then even when they want to buy that party, they know the right questions to ask basically. So we'll be talking about understanding land documentation here in Lagos, Nigeria, the step-by-step process on how to go about. So anything else my property at any stage, with any title, you know the right questions to ask and you know exactly what you're buying into basically. And these are not things we just learned from books or theories. These are things that we learned over the years running the business basically. I've seen instances where developers lodge huge amount of money to indigenous owners, and then after paying the indigenous owner guys 8 figures, 9 figures, you got to realize that that land had 1 or 2 issues on this with that documentation. And then one thing about indigenous owner is that you don't get refund back from those guys. You know how it is basically, but those are into the business basically. So these are things that will save you huge amount of money when you understand. It will protect you, and then you won't just fall victim to property fraud anyhow literally. And we've seen instances whereby even as a brand, we want transaction that if that transaction are going through, we only gonna know what will happen by now. So basically, these are things that this is an enlightenment that's going to really help you your property purchase here in Lagos, Nigeria, especially. Now, let's get to the also I'll be displaying a pictorial diagram of a tree diagram of how the land tax process works here in Lagos, Nigeria. So you just have to understand it. So I'll be displaying that on the screen now, basically. Now, first of all, initially all land is free. So before the land decree 1978, if let's say for instance Ogundiji family get to a particular neighborhood, or let's say um Nnamdi family get a particular neighborhood first. Now all land in that neighborhood belongs to Nnamdi family. They're like the kings and the owners and citizens of that particular neighborhood. But after land decree 1978, the law now says that all land in a state is being vested under the authority of the government of that state. Doesn't mean that the land belongs to the government. It doesn't mean that it just means that all land is now present under the power of the government. That means the government has the power to either take those lands or either give those lands back to the indigenous owner of that particular neighborhood. Now, so land was initially free. After land in 1978, the land was divided into three major categories. We have completed acquisition, we have non-completed acquisition, and then we have the free lands. Now, let me start with completed acquisition basically. Now, completed acquisition means that the land is specified for a particular use for the public now, basically. Like if you go somewhere like Yabana, you see all those kind of military zones, basically. So either for cemetery, for canal, that's flow of water, for free trade zone, for airports, for school, that's public schools, for markets, for bridge, train stations, and the likes, basically. So these are public use. So when you say committed land, like let's say you want to buy land now, and then the surveyor goes to site, and surveyor tells you that, oh, okay, that land is under a committed acquisition. That means the land is under either public, either it's most likely under public use, either for cemetery, for canal, for a free trade zone like the one we have in the likes of Lekki neighbors, for an airport that comes to Lekki, or the one likes of Ikeja, for public schools, for market, for bridge stations. So basically, when you have committed acquisition land, that means those lands, government already have plan for those lands. So they're already under the government plan already. There are some places whereby, like for instance, in Lekki now, some people are selling some. I won't mention anybody. Some people are selling some zones that are marketed for military zones. I don't understand why you send a military zone land basically. So those are committed acquisition. Those are lands that you should not even go near them at all whatsoever. They are lands that the government already have plan for basically. Now, talking about not completed acquisition land basically, they are not completed. Okay, so now we have some after the land divided completed acquisition that government have plan for. We now add non-completed acquisition basically. So what those lands mean is that completed acquisition means that government literally keep those lands for future use. Now let me use a general example. Let's assume government collects 200 acres of land. Now they say that okay, oh, out of 200 acres, let's keep 50 acres for community acquisition. Basically, that means for either for our canal or free trade zone or airport, let's keep 50 acres for community acquisition. Now let us they not carry 100 acres. Out of 200 acres, they carry 100 acres, they keep 100 acres under no community acquisition. Basically, now what that one means now is that They are keeping those lands for future use basically. So they don't even have any plan for those lands now. There's no any they've already used all what they already knew what they will use for community acquisition. Now it's not government, they don't have any plan at the moment. So they are just keeping those lands for future purposes. The reason why government uses that they don't want to go back to indigenous owners. Let's say for instance now you want to build, let's say they want to build a train station in the future. You don't want to go back to indigenous owners and start compensating them back again. So just create those lands and then can keep those lands under non-community acquisition now basically. Now under non-community acquisition we have two major sub under it. We have gazetted excision and we have allocation. Now before there we can see village excision block, approved excision and excision review. Now you see village excision block, approved excision, they all mean the same thing. I'll explain what they mean. And the excision review is what is different. So village excision block layouts and approved excision, they all mean the same thing. Where excision fee is what was different here. For excision review, the process whereby the family or indigenous owner workers going that you guys we need this land back from the government hand. Now there will be an exchange fight number that will be fight for that particular hectares or acres of land. Now that's what we call exchange review. When the government file a particular exchange fight number for a particular piece of land, that's what we call exchange review basically. And then when the government now finally approve or excise that land back to the indigenous owner, that's when now becomes approved excision. So village excision block and then approved excision, they all mean that the government has fully excised that land or given that land back to the junior owner basically. So that's what that means. While extension review means that they've given the that means they're already in the process of approving the extension basically. I hope that is clear. Now finally we now have gazetted extension. Now a gazette is a record book where all government transaction is being kept basically. So after the government approve that land to the indigenous owner basically, when that land is finally approved, they now keep once it has been made public and have documented that okay we've given this 20 acres of land back to Ezulike family or Nnamdi family. Now what that now means is that we make it public and documented that okay we finally give this land back to the family. Do you understand? So when they excise it, it becomes an excision land. But when they now put inside a gazette book, that means now become gazette excision. Now gazette excision is always the safest to buy basically because you've seen instance whereby governments give out excision land basically, and then the association is interested in that excision land. So whenever they exercise an excision land and they now put inside the gazette book, that means it is fully safe. That means they don't have that means even when they want to come back, so why they want to come back and reclaim that land back. We saw them this all them this Olorebi, all them this family, they are very those people feel that those guys don't have adequate knowledge of all them those lands, but they know what they are doing. So that's why I say that gazette extension land are always very much more expensive because you know that whenever government wants to have an issue with them, they always have their documents to always show and they win the case back basically. So gazette extension is always a more stronger type to always buy basically. When you have a land that has gazette extension, it's always a very challenge because the government are giving that land back as an extension land, they publicize it and they even documented this perfectly that they've extended that land back to the government to public basically. Now instances whereby for allocation, so after no capital acquisition we have gazette acquisition, then we have allocation. That's right next to that, so the second sub under no capital acquisition. So we have allocation. Now let me explain what allocation means. Let's assume for instance now most you see most of the land in the Lekki now, like the likes of Itunu, Fairmont, Imen Estates, the likes of Macarius and the likes, you should always see that allocation. They always can Lagos State government allocated COO allocation. You go Lagos government allocated land, those kind of things. So what that means is that okay, let's assume governments okay have like about 100 acres of land and they're keeping that land okay, we are keeping that land for no communal association now. So whenever a company comes to the government and say okay, let's take for instance now, famous now. So landmark comes to walk up to the government and say that okay, this is where the airport is coming into inside the Lekki. The other side there, can the government give us that land back? And that process whereby the government allocates that hectares of land to either a company or an individual or a group of people. That process is called allocated land basically. That's why I see most land coming carrying because the government allocated sure. So whenever I see allocation, they say land like allocated. That means that land was initially under non-complete acquisition, and then you did not apply the land got that land allocated to them basically. So that's what they mean by allocation basically. So whenever I say land that has allocation, that means the land has been given by the government to that particular individual. So now let me explain this. So whenever they give a guided extension to the indigenous owner of that land, so the guided extension is always given to family, while allocation is always given to either individuals or a group of people or a company basically. So I think you understand what that means. Now you can see where we are. This is assignment documents, and then we have register survey. We now have with subject line to show one governor's consent. Now let's assume you have an allocation now. You have that allocated to you. The next document you apply for is show of O basically. So show of O and governor's consent literally mean the same thing. Now let me explain what that means. Show of O means that now from the land being under non-competitive acquisition, the company will give it to company A. Let's say for instance, company give it to landmark now, for instance, the company give it to wealth homes and properties now. What that means now is that after the land was collected by the government back, the first person that land was given over to first was company so company A. Do you understand? That was so so after a land does not have any title whatsoever. So now for a very long period, the land does not have any title, and then individual A went. So the person that will be on that show documents is individual A because that person has certificate of occupancy initially. So now if individual A after owning that land for like let's say like 2 years or 3 years wants to resell, it now says to individual B. What that person will have in the governor's consent basically because we only issue out show of who only once. Someone only have show of who once basically. So once individual A has the show of who only once and one set to individual B, next document will be getting is a governor's individual B will be getting a governor's consent document basically. So that's what we mean by governor's consent. So show of and governor's consent only they always mean the same thing. The only difference there is that show was only issued once, while governor's consent is always so you keep on getting governor. So individual B once individual C, you keep on getting governor's consent, and the purpose of governor's consent is the fact that let's assume individual, let's say the person individual A got show of who on 10 acres of land and then he sells 2 acres to individual B. That means they have 8 acres left, Abi. Now let's assume individual A you want to sell to individual C, and then he wants to resell that same 10 acres. You know that he has already sold 2 acres to individual B, and then he has only 8 acres left. If Mr. Individual B has gone to Land Bureau or Lausa, and then he has indicated that I got the government consent on 2 acres, so that means individual A only have 8 acres left. By the time individual A wants to resell and probably defraud individual C or by selling 10 acres to him, and by then I'm going to check in Land Bureau so that individual A has sold 2 acres to 10 acres, that means you only have 8 acres left. So by the time we do all these things in by the right way, we document this land acquisition the right way, there will always be less issues of land fraud and land issues like that basically here in Lagos, Nigeria, basically. Now, I think that's the end of that tree diagram basically. So you have no complete acquisition, and then you can either have it as gazetted acquisition or either allocation basically. And then from there, you can either process it as a show of who and then also now when you want to process a show of document, the what you need is a document or registered with document. Let me explain what that means. This assignment documents means that the document that shows about ownership from either the company or that you just own out to you. I will do the assignment documents. Only people by either a lawyer basically. You have to the assignment documents. And the registered survey means that the surveyor goes to the site and then they take a coordinate of your plan. They're gonna register it as land bureau. That's okay. We're registering these so and so hectares of land in individual being name basically. So after you've gotten those two documents, you can now process and get your show documents from the government. And some other documents that will be required, but those are the basic ones that you need to get show basically. Those are just the basic ones, the most common, the most important one that you must get and take along to get your show basically. Now that's like about so talking about the first tree diagram, we talk about second tree diagram. Now what we're talking about now is the last part of the tree diagram after land agreement 78. We said they divided 50 acres to non-complete acquisition, and they divided let's say 100 acres to non-complete acquisition. That means they still have about 50 acres that was free land. So whenever you have, so there's some lands in Lagos that are free and are just free land basically. The government just tell these lands that okay, these lands are free basically. You don't have any plan for those lands basically. So there's some lands that are just free land basically. So now when you're buying a free land does not really have any issue whatsoever. They're always the easiest to possess and get that one. So whenever you're buying your free land and then you have your deed documents and they have a register of it done, just by explain what they are just right now, a few minutes ago. Now you can just purchase your shop easily on your freelance. So freelance are always once you so most lands are in Lekki now that you see that's freehold land. Even if it's really truly a freehold land, after you got that freehold land, once you just have to just can process the shop very very easy, very very easy. And then if individual A buys a free land now, and then that perfect that in his name to his name whatever his name is, and then once you resell to individual B, there will be another development prepared between him and individual B. The very will be prepared between him and individual B again. That means with those documents, Mr. B, individual B can proceed to land bureau and then get his or her own government consent on that same land so as well basically. So that's just how it's done basically. That's just the process basically. So I think we need to understand the basic. You should always know the right question and the right statement by passing here in Lagos, Nigeria basically. So you can always ask that: is it committed acquisition land? Is it a freehold land? Is it not? Is it a committed acquisition? Is it not committed acquisition? Like, you always know the right question to ask during the property purchase, basically in Lagos, Nigeria. And we actually put a lot of effort to prepare diagram and to record this video basically. So just kindly subscribe and give us a thumbs up basically. Kindly like this video because it tells other people to just get come across this and they make right when I'm buying property here in Lagos, Nigeria basically. So I think that will be all for now and see you on the next episode. Bye for now, guys.